with that, I think we are in the exciting second presentation or second talk, Fireside Chat. Tell us about that one now.
Absolutely. I love that, Samir. I think it was fascinating conversation. India just needs to innovate more, from excelling in excellence to now, just leaping in innovation. We look forward to the next session, Samir, which is our Fireside Chat. And we are going to discuss what's on top of, I think, every engineering leader, the R&D industry. We're talking about Industry 4.0 and what is at the heart of sustainable manufacturing. And I think this, cuts straight through, because sustainability is the theme of our summit. And we have this fascinating conversation unfolding between two leading leaders, Sonali Kulkarni, who is president and CEO of FANUC India, which is the Indian arm of the Japanese robotic manufacturer. And then we have our very own KSV, Viswanathan, NASSCOM, leading industry initiatives. And I think we can do a poll to say who does not know KSV. So let the session begin and let's have some outstanding conversation unfolding.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Introduction about FANUC has been given. I don't think introduction about Sonali has been given. Sonali heads FANUC in India, and more than distinguished qualifications and achievements so far, she's passionate about sustainability. That is important. It was visible when she walked in, how she observed, including the badge, and said, this is not sustainable, do something. You want me to come across? So she's very, very passionate about sustainability. And the conversation with her also brought in, she's also very passionate about manufacturing leadership, leadership in general, and manufacturing leadership, how India could attain the leadership in manufacturing just the way we achieved in several of the subjects. And third, she's very positive about net positive. Net positive, while we are committing 2050 goals, 2030 goals, she's perhaps wanting to discuss what should be 2023 net positive goals also. She's so passionate. And last but not the least, in her role, she ends up making her customers succeed. This is the fourth thing on shade brings to the table. Please welcome Sonali Kulkarni.
Thank you. Thank you for this almost unrecognizable introduction. And I'm honored to have NASSCOM invite me. I look forward to this conversation.
Thank you so much. The topic is Industry 4.0 and sustainable manufacturing. As a country, perhaps we are on the threshold of an significant growth in technology, and technology powered everything. What in NASSCOM world we call digital next. We'll talk about that later. One of the questions that I have for you is that Industry 4.0 has brought in the need for cyber physical systems, right? India has achieved tremendous success as a technology superpower. We have technologists and design engineers sitting here wanting to make this a success. How do we attain, with this, all the people together, collectively, the manufacturing supremacy? What does it take to? It's a 100-year-old legacy. It is taking time. Whereas, as you said, IT is just 30-year legacy, we achieved it. So how do you bring the change to bring the design people think about sustainability in manufacturing, and India taking the lead as a sustainable manufacturing destination for the world in 10 years from now?
Industry 4.0 has been talked about for now over a decade. And manufacturing in India has been going on, it depends where you start counting, but it is an old industry. And the industry that NASSCOM looks after, the industries that NASSCOM attends to, tend to diverge. They don't seem to converge very much with manufacturing, at least not so much in India, although that is changing. In the introduction, the gentleman said that, FANUC, the company I represent in India, the manufacturer of robots and CNCs, has achieved 720 hours unmanned production back in 2002 or 3. And this is before the term IoT was coined, or Industry 4.0, etc. But basically making use of network systems to gather data and real-time data and ensure efficient production. That is the objective of any shop floor, I would say, is to have efficient production, quality, and then as a result it will be sustainable because the resources will be consumed very optimally. So I thought, I can see that everybody's glazed over or checking text messages. So let me try to lighten this with an example. Only a handful of our customers, you see, the control systems which reside on the machines come fully equipped. But how much do we invest in the manufacturing process? How much do we invest thought into upgrading, for example, even the operator? The operator of a machine with the latest control system is still just doing cycle start and cycle stop. It is a combination of the management doesn't trust, the management doesn't want to give the operator, they want to make the operator as unnecessary as possible. And the operator is also not digitally literate, etc. But here there is a gold mine. Okay? If the operator is trained, made digitally literate, if the management decides to upgrade the programs, not use age-old programs in the latest machines, they could do so much more. So for example, one of India's top tractor manufacturers, just totally by accident, they also make SUVs and they're very successful. They have waiting lists for the SUVs, so you know who I'm speaking of. They decided to use FANUC's IoT solution to capture data during the machining process, basically look at servo performance, spindle performance, and current, and interpret that against the ideal, parameters which have been fed in. And the operator can, or the machine itself can, make on-the-fly offset adjustments, because the tool will wear out after some cycles of machining, but it is not to be discarded. If you make an offset, the machining will still be perfectly fine. That offset adjustment can be done on the fly, thus not only preventing rejections or bad quality, but actually also saving on cycle time. And this in itself is sustainable, because sustainability is using resources in a very responsible fashion, thinking beyond your own little self, seeing how you can leave, or rather how you can create success for not just yourself, but your stakeholders, your suppliers, your vendors, your customers, employees, shareholders, whatever, the planet. So this is one example. Do I get on to another example?
Yes.
Because another, a two-wheeler manufacturer, they make very stylish bikes. And they decided to, very different use of our IoT product. Our IoT product actually gathers information from the shop floor, which is called the edge. Okay, it's a gateway for capturing signals, whatever, from the entire shop floor, and then analyzing it, either on premises or at the fog level, and returning the data to the management for analysis, or to the users, depending who they are. This two-wheeler manufacturer decided to use our IoT product for tracking every single machined component, every single moving part, whether assembled or machined. And with this traceability, they hope to link the failures reported in the field at a service center. When you drive in your bike and there is something wrong, they hope to link it to the manufacturing process itself and start working on the parts to refine the manufacturing process to prevent that mismatch, or not mismatch, the lack of quality which led to the failure before its time, okay? And if they succeed, which they will, it is just a matter of application of mind and focus, nothing else. They will have far more reliable bikes. If that is not sustainable, what is? Indeed, not using this and using a reusable bottle is also sustainable. But since we are talking manufacturing and I represent factory automation, I think we should talk about core subjects rather than switch off the lights, that too. But we should make a difference in our field. Now I know, I'm not sure, but I was told that you guys are all, ladies and gentlemen, are designers, developers, and maybe these examples leave you cold. But what I invite you to think, that, as a leader in this field, small field, but a core field, because machine tools are the mother industry. A country's manufacturing succeeds when they have a strong machine tool base. There are just a handful who are using the FANUC capabilities, the control system capabilities. right? It is not the majority. And what is missing is a lack of awareness on part of the decision makers. They don't see where they can generate value. They don't see how they can generate value. And the IT industry, as it is wrongly labeled, is very far away from us. And there are some players, but then they can't be counted on, they come and go, whatever. But this is a wide open possibility for the industries that this association addresses. And I have many more such, but
we'll take up one more example later.
Yes.
I particularly like your railway wheels example. We'll come to that later. But the second question on the conversation is, many researchers said, as I said, many of the design thinkers are sitting here, designers are sitting here, for achieving sustainability in any processes, especially manufacturing, 70% of the problem lies in the design stage. So your thoughts on that? How do we get the design thinkers, engineers, to start thinking sustainability at the design stage itself to predict possible outcomes when the manufacturing process is complete?
Okay, as I understand the term design thinking, it's all enveloping, it is all encompassing. So embedded in it is already sustainability is a part of it. It doesn't have to be strapped on because non-sustainability would be actually waste creation, which if any product development, if it has been attended from design thinking eyes, I think it would come without or with as little wastage as possible.
The reason I'm saying in the last two sessions what we had today, everyone is talking sustainability. The question I'm asking is this just a topic to have in a conference?
Yes.
Or is important to create awareness and also to say what is required at the group of people here, what we should do differently?
Okay, the planet is going to hell, okay? And now it's no longer somebody else's problem. Now it is not some problem that the Prime Minister will solve, right? So whether it is important for us to talk about and then do something, I leave that to you and greater minds. But I find it is just a fashion these days. ESG, SDG, sustainable, these are fashionable words. I don't think anybody means it.
Okay.
But sorry, since I feel so strongly, I feel can't clap because we have to reach a stage where we mean it. Okay, otherwise there'll be no planet left. We'll not be having these conferences in air-conditioned fancy hotels with 30 types of food to eat, and it's not going to be possible. So I feel like we should look at it like your head is on fire, but we don't. And it is looked at like some NGO subject, which I'm frequently confused with because of grey hair and Indian ethnic attire. But FANUC is a top successful 80% market share.
Fantastic.
And about 280,000 units installed in India over the last 30 years. So anyhow, sustainability is important. We need to talk about it. We need to also move from talking to doing. Okay, and every little bit counts. But before we reach there, we have to feel it. It has to be felt in the heart. Otherwise, it is just scotch taped on. It is just today's glamorous topic. You know, so that's,
Fantastic.
I don't know if that's that
a good point, because you did mention earlier in your conversation that the core of manufacturing is going to be digital. Core of manufacturing is going to be digital. And as I said, as a country, we have an ambitious goal to perhaps hit an $1 trillion digital economy by 2026, 2027. While there's so-called I'm using the wrong word, our industry, the tech and everybody is ours. Tech industry will jump from current 227 billion to perhaps 350. The remaining 350 billion, 400 billion has to come from digitization of manufacturing industry, digitization of agriculture, digitization of health, supply chain, healthcare, etc. And how do we create the digital awareness there with sustainability as a core? Because here is an opportunity. Here is an opportunity, like what we did 3 decades back, they're going to start on digitization process. If we can get sustainability, digitization, tech playing it, we could be the supreme world in $1 trillion economy with digitized manufacturing sustainability. Your thought?
You're exactly right. I think everything is going to be underlaid with digital. It is not only manufacturing. Anything that needs to succeed in today's world will have to be underlaid with a very strong digital interface where value is added, dramatic value is added, and waste is, I can't say eliminated, but much, much, much reduced. So yeah, that is an opportunity staring us in the face. Manufacturing will no longer be able to be just a greasy shop floor and age-old machines, age-old practices, someplace nobody wants to go. Definitely you're not going to send your children there, you know, etc., as a career choice. But for a country to succeed, for India to exit poverty, let us face it, we are a poor nation, below poverty. The kind of jobs needed, IT has done very well, services have done very well in India, but we cannot absorb the 18-year-olds, whether graduate from college or not. I think 1 million 18-year-olds pour
Yes.
into the
Workforce.
workforce every month. So we cannot absorb it unless we also look at manufacturing, if we look at agriculture, etc., etc. And manufacturing is already going the digital way. It has globally. FANUC has been running now for 66 years. It's nothing new. 720 hours unmanned productions happened
20 years back, 30.
25 years ago, you know. It's nothing new. But in India, we need to do this. And we have a great manufacturing base, which is perhaps not so well understood by most of us. But we do. Bangalore is the machine tool capital of India. But that's not all. There is Rajkot, there is Coimbatore, there is Ludhiana. We have machine tool talent. We make our own machines in a world like today with the geopolitical situation. It's a great strength to have your own machine tool business, your own manufacturing businesses. We manufacture our cars. We don't import discarded cars from first world countries. Now, for these to leapfrog into where they ought to be, where they to global leadership, because none of our brands, save one or two exceptions, are global leaders. We're not. We are so busy serving the Indian market, which is big enough to keep us busy the whole time. If we can introduce the digital at a mass scale, it will transform. And how? I think NASSCOM has Digital Next as a program. And I think it has to attack the decision makers first, because if the decision makers don't believe in it, it's not going to happen. But then it has to come from the bottom. You can't just talk to the men, they're mostly men sitting in those air-conditioned offices. You have to also get down to the shop floor. And it's a great experience. Okay, it's a great experience. I studied zoology. I'm a chartered accountant and I've studied law. I'm not an engineer. I run a company of engineers and men. But get down onto the shop floor, understand, okay? And then beautiful design will happen. And then the marriage of digital will be enmeshed with our manufacturing processes, which already come equipped with powerful CNCs, industrial robots. India already has about 20,000 robots working in the, you know, in small and big places, not just Maruti Suzuki, also one-man shows in Jaipur, they have robots. So the time is ripe, opportunity is there, but it's not a ready-made highway. And so here I quickly share, because I think we're going to take over shortly.
Don't worry, go ahead.
So I wanted to share this with you guys. You know, when you think of Indian railways, is anybody impressed? Or do you think starry-eyed, is it the top performing railway in the world? Or does anybody have those feelings? Okay, you guys are... Anyway, I'm sure we have romantic feelings, we have nostalgia if as children you went in the railways, etc. But our railways are not respected for having high degree of manufacturing excellence at all. So here's the surprising fact about, firstly, railway machines, the machines which make the components that go into manufacturing railway engines and bogies, etc., have historically come from Europe. And therefore, there is no Japanese who has ever played in this. And so from our shareholder parent company, we have no guidance. But about 10, 12 years ago, we in FANUC India started working with the upcoming machine tool builder, which serves only the railway segment. And today, we have one example, you know, the rail wheels. They erode after traveling 2 lakh kilometers. They erode in, the profile erodes in different ways for different wheels. So there are machines called surface wheel lathe, which will remachine it and bring it back to an acceptable profile, or new generation underfloor wheel lathe, because this whole thing is so heavy and it has to be done in tandem to keep balance. So that actually the bogie drives over and the machining happens from underneath. So we, who are the control system supplier, were tasked with providing critical requirements like pre-machining measurement and post-machining measurement of the wheel is logged and saved on the server at the railway workshop and also given to the machine tool builder. It is synced with the machine tool builder at the end of the day. Alarms and warnings are sort of alerted to the railway machine workshops as well as the machine builders. And email notification goes for very emergency critical alarms and warnings about, so that action can be taken. And finally, basically remote monitoring. So there were 9 workshops that these machines were placed in. And we developed a custom screen. We are not software people, but we just studied it on the side and did it. We developed a custom screen so the manager of the railway workshop in Yelahanka can talk to the manager in the South Delhi, that's Mohan cooperative area of whatever, near Faridabad. That's another railway workshop. And they could not just talk, they could see each other's performance, access the CNC screens, and cross-pollinate and adopt better practices. If somebody's profile cutting is better than mine, we can learn from that and enhance. So railways is doing this.
So essentially you're saying, if you apply my mind, least glamorous thing, any glamorous opportunities can be made sustainable with all of us collaborating together.
And pretty glamorous. I think if you transform Indian railways, it's powerful.
Absolutely right. Cool.
It's huge.
Very good.
So,
is there any question for Sonali from any one of you? Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. Harsha here from HoloSuit. I think like one of the questions I have is the problem with skilling, both skilling of students, skilling of robots, as well as skilling of politicians and the industry people, and giving them this information so that they can actually make use of it, use of your technologies the best way, because you have probably built everything, but probably right from the education level to the industry level to the politicians understanding level at the government, education is required. Would that significantly solve the problem or help us reach that 350 billion that we are talking about?
no, we will not beautifully parachute into 350 billion, whatever, in any such ready-made way. We won't. No, your question is good, Harsha. But in India, I think all the success is generated by individual organizations, individuals, and so on. Our government is grappling with various problems, and I don't think our brief is to educate. They're very smart people, and I mean it. You cannot win elections and run large sections of society if you were not. But regarding skilling, yes, definitely our workforce, our students need skilling, and it is happening in its own way. FANUC itself does some degree of skilling, but basically what is needed is for ladies and gentlemen like you, thank you sir, to feel that there is an opportunity and step outside of the well-trodden avenues that your organizations may be serving, and explore with the view to demonstrate a value proposition to the decision makers. Then it will happen. Because everybody wants to do better, everybody wants to make more money, and there's nothing wrong. I think it's a great indicator of success. If your product is good, if it has a big market, it holds value, it's good. But the digital enmeshing is a must for us to go to the next level, and I don't know if I answered you.
Yes, thank you. That's what the digital skilling of the digital part, right? Right now we have a physical system, we have to make it phygital. So if we start doing that phygital skilling, I was thinking then we can probably make progress.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other question? Yes, sir.
Hello, ma'am. My name is Shailendra. I am from T Connectivity. Yeah. So I was just googling your name, and then at the bottom I saw that your grandparent is Mahatma Gandhi. So through you, I would like to say my namaskara. So my question is, now I have been hearing about Industry 4.0 from past 10, 12 years, and the IoT sector is again coming up with modules and certain devices, but still there is a large gap in implementing the IoT, or I mean to say the wireless technology or the next generation into the industry as such. So yeah, PLCs are there, but next gen can be further go into 4.0 as such. So I saw that there is still a gap. So what is, I mean, what is leading to that gap, and why we are still like 12 years behind when the Industry 4.0 came actually?
Thank you. And yes, I know TE connectivity very well. You guys are our customers.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, nice question. I think the gap is, you see, that there has to be an ecosystem approach. There has to be digital awareness at various levels. I'll talk a shop floor or a manufacturing entity. It cannot just only be that the chairman has attended some program in Davos or in NASSCOM and is transformed. That alone won't be enough. We need to make the rungs digitally savvy, somewhat literate, not savvy. Before that, I'm sorry, the cultural approach has to be attended to. Most people I meet, and these are all decision makers, owners, big boys, they use IoT as some kind of a sophisticated spying device. This is very negative and very, very teaspoon thinking. When the ocean is in front of you, we are working with a teaspoon. And the workers who may be illiterate, they sense this. And so they resent it. They don't want IoT. Because, you know, it's like if you put a camera to check how many times I drink tea, or, I don't know, send messages to my boyfriend, or I don't know, whatever, then it's very disgusting. This cultural thought has to be removed, and the decision makers have to be made aware that value can be unlocked. It's a gold mine. After that, it's not very hard. And people have to take interest in the process. There is no ready-made, it's not like saying buying Microsoft Office and start using it. It has to be customized for your operations. So there, gentlemen like yourself and the manufacturing entity itself have to show great interest and get it done. It's very much possible. No gap, but gap, yes, exists.
Thank you so much, Sonali. Ladies and gentlemen, give a big hand to Sonali today.
What a shining example, Samir. That was brilliant, right? The session, the video, and of course the report. And I'm sure you're going to go and take a look at it. I'll download my copy. I think Sonali's session was fabulous. I mean, I think we'd love to see more role models as women leaders in manufacturing. And
Absolutely.
I love the women CEO. I think that was fascinating. And of course, she spoke about parallelization of people, process, technology. It's not either or. And simplify the language, guys. Take people along across.